Hi, let's talk some more about the kites that are happening in early August. So I've talked a fair bit about one of them. There's another that I haven't even brought up yet. I'm probably not going to get to that one until after I've finished my news coverage on this first one. But in case you're wondering where's the kite with Mercury and Pluto? It's coming. It's coming. Today, though, I want to spotlight the opposition between Mars in Libra and Saturn and Neptune, both retrograde in Aries. That opposition is exact on August 8th. That's next Friday. Same day that Mars trines Uranus. I like that trine with Uranus because it's giving a helpful assist to both Mars and Saturn/Neptune. So here's the kite configuration that I'm talking about, and I'm focusing specifically on the red line, the opposition between Mars and Saturn/Neptune. And then you can see, so Uranus over here in Gemini is making positive aspects, those are the blue lines, to both parties, or all three parties. Uranus is the liberator and the element of surprise. In Gemini, I think that we can anticipate Uranus creating a lot of circumstances or reflecting the truth that two opposite and contradictory things are true at the same time. That's kind of Gemini's shtick, is nothing is absolutely true. Everything is up for debate. Everything is up for questioning. I think Uranus in Gemini is reminding us that our addiction to certainty and our addiction to being right and proving it is actually imprisoning us. There's just a total resistance and real fear of saying, I don't know. I have to think about it. I think that Uranus is pointing out how much we lose in our social connections, in our ability to have meaningful conversations and meaningful relationships with each other. I said I was going to focus on the opposition, and here we are talking about Uranus. Kind of in a similar vein, I feel that this opposition is very double negative coded. Mars is debilitated in Libra, so there's a contradiction of energies there. Saturn is in fall in Aries, so there's a contradiction of energies there. And Neptune is just further eroding Saturn's ability to hold strong boundaries or to make any kind of statements of this is absolutely true, this is absolutely right. Saturn is a planet of polarity. Saturn really wants to be able to demarcate the boundary between what's true and what's not, what's right and what's not. Anyway, this opposition that Mars and Saturn are making with each other across signs that each of them are not getting their way in, each of them are just really contending with harsh, difficult circumstances. It feels like grammatically incorrect, double negative. You're taking the long way to get to an understanding or a piece of truth that there was a much simpler way to get to it. It's very the enemy of my enemy is my friend, instead of we could be allies, let's work together. You know what I mean? It has to go through this third party in order to reach an understanding. And this is part of why I brought up Uranus making a trine with Mars and a sextile with Saturn and Neptune, because I just see evidence in this aspect of not wanting to compromise your firmly held beliefs about the situation you're in, about who you are, and what you would never do, like those lines you would never cross, and like under what circumstances would you actually cross them. I think with astrology like this and with the circumstances we are living in right now, it's okay to learn more about yourself when it comes to, are the principles that I've always thought were right for me and like totally reasonable, are there circumstances in which they actually don't fit me anymore? I think a lot of people hold their principles tightly as part of their identity, myself included, by the way. But this astrology feels like such a provocative, creative prompt. The opportunity to genuinely explore the idea that, okay, what if winning and keeping your principles intact are mutually exclusive? What if you can't have both? Is winning more important to you, or is your integrity or your understanding of your integrity more important? And I think it's okay for us to have different answers to that, for all of us to engage with that question and have a different perspective. Because again, it's not about certainty. We are not all going to have the same answer. And that's not a threat. It doesn't have to be. It's simply an open-ended question. It's a creative prompt. I also think it's okay to have different answers to that question under different sets of circumstances. And like, is there a point where it kind of circles back around where like, okay, your principles tell you to behave this way, but they also tell you that you have to accomplish this under any circumstances. And is there a point where you have to behave in a way that goes against your principles in order to achieve what your principles say you have to achieve under any circumstances? I think a lot of us have been contending with this question, maybe quietly, maybe very loudly and out in the open, but I just wanted to state the question because that's kind of what we've all been wrestling with. Maybe you haven't. I have. Me and my friends have. I think we've also had ample opportunity to witness other people creating their own responses to that prompt through their behavior. It's just that the answers that they've come up with are deeply offensive and disgusting to us. And our answers to that creative prompt are deeply disgusting and offensive to them. And maybe that's Neptune's influence. Neptune is part of this opposition too. I think the opposition between Mars and Neptune doesn't technically happen until Saturday, the 9th. Yeah, it's like a day apart. Neptune blurs the lines. Neptune softens the edges in ways that can be very spiritually enlightening and also very materially dangerous. And sometimes with Neptune, if you're willing to engage with the spiritual part, with the fog, with the mystery, there are real, like, visceral, material, physical consequences or costs to that. The same is true in reverse. If we double, triple, quadruple down on the physical and material realities and experiences that we have and decide that's all that matters, that's the only truth, that's the most important truth, we lose something that's a bit more nebulous and magical about us. Anyway, this is a difficult opposition with really no clear-cut answers. So if you're a person who really struggles with uncertainty, This may feel extremely jarring and like unsafe. No, I won't even entertain that question. I won't engage in that conversation because it is so offensive to me. This opposition, I think, makes it kind of impossible not to engage a little bit. And again, it is okay for us to have different answers to a creative prompt. It is also okay for us to have one answer and then to change our minds later. It's okay for us to have one answer today, change our mind tomorrow, and then change it back the next day. And then the day after that, change it to something completely different. That's okay. I really want to hone in on the fact, well, maybe it's not a fact, it's my opinion. My opinion is that this is a free response question. It is not a formulaic, like, math problem with one solution. And in some ways, I kind of wonder, are we looking for an answer to something that was never a question? This is not a time for absolute truths. And yet, with this opposition, I'm certain that we will see people who do feel that there is something that is an absolute truth and have a real sense of certainty about it. Maybe that's you, and that's great. That's one way to look at this. There are also other ways to look at it that are a little less clear and a little more messy. And I'm not afraid of that. I know that we are capable of feeling our way through this. And I know that I can trust my intuition, that if I am faced with a concept that on the surface seems fine, nothing questionable there, I know that my gut will give me the feedback that I need to make the right move in the right moment. I'm also okay with the fact that until that moment comes, I may not know where I'm headed or what my answer is. I don't know if this is making sense to anybody outside of my head. Maybe this is a pep talk for me. Anyway, I would definitely expect, probably starting like middle of the week, to start having experiences or just being kind of confronted with situations that cause you to ask questions like I'm asking in this video. I hope this was interesting or helpful. If you thought it was, please leave me a like and follow me. Click the bell to get notified of when I go live if you'd like to ask me a question live. Comment, share this video if you think something was said here that other people would find interesting. And if you'd like to work with me personally, you can click the mushroom and visit the site listed to book a session with me. I'd love to work with you. Good job today. Good luck out there.